Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I am so happy to be back for another episode of Psychology and Spirituality. I'm your host, Marcia Trajano, and today I'm joined once again by this amazing, thoughtful, brilliant Dr. Anahy Fonseca, with whom I love to explore this profound intersections, perhaps is the better word, between psychology and spiritism, but also with the human experience. Welcome back, Anaí. It is so good to see you, but how are you?
I'm great, and I'm very thrilled to be here with you again and everybody else. Thank you so much, Marcia, for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But for everyone out there, for the past few episodes, we've been exploring topics that I believe touch the very core of our human experience, right? We've been discussing the role of families, schools, and how in different ways, but together they form emotional patterns that shape our identity. So, Anayi, today I propose that we can take this further into no longer the family and the school, but to the wider circle, right? And I propose that we talk about relationships, especially within the family, and as they extend to society, right? They are not a part of life; they are life in a way. And I thought I had a visual image in my mind that I would like to share, Anai, before we start our conversation. And we can see, perhaps, if you can imagine an orchestra, right? And there, it's not showtime yet. Everybody's starting to take their seats, but the orchestra is preparing, right? And what do? They ensure that each instrument is tuned. So the violins are doing that, the flutes are adjusting, all the percussionists are warming up, and everyone in this cacophony of sounds, but they're getting ready to make sure that during the presentation of whatever music that they have in the program, that not a single instrument will be off key, right? So what they're doing, they're really vibrating harmony. So if we think about it, society is very much like that orchestra, and you and I, all of us, are different notes within that score of music. And when one instrument or one note or one heart is out of harmony, then we start to see the dissonance, right? And that dissonance itself will echo in our homes, our friendships, our neighborhoods, our places of work, the world at large. So, with that in mind, maybe we can reflect on a simple question. How are we doing? How are we living our lives? How are we contributing to make life an environment where harmony exists, or are we on a day-to-day basis, hour by hour basis, minute by minute, or are we contributing to conflicts in this symphony of life? And why do I say this, Anai? It's because Joanna de Ângelis really alerts us that an emotionally unbalanced person has this incredible power to affect an entire family. And with each one of us as emotionally unbalanced individuals, we are impacting in a negative manner, if you will, society as a whole. So let's maybe spend a few minutes of our time. I'd love three topics for us to talk. So I'm going to give you maybe where my mind is, Anaí. maybe we can talk a little bit about society and how it begins, the idea of society, but it's all connected to the home. Then we can talk a little bit about the elements that truly creates happiness. And this is to me the main topic for us today, but also drawing from your expertise or your expert opinion, how connection is both a psychological and a spiritual requirement to live well. So with that, I just want to say, um, Joanna uses a quite powerful metaphor, right? In the same idea of the symphony. She says one emotionally dissonant individual can throw off the entire family harmony, just like a bad note in a symphony. Can you talk about this idea of harmony and how the home is really the birth, the beginning of society?
Wow, it's a lot of stuff. But let's go ahead. I was listening to you, Marcia, and you know that as Jungians, right, we connect pretty much with images,
Yes.
like in dreams, right? And it came to my mind two things about
Mhm.
what Joan is saying, because she talks about the individual, right?
Yes.
The pleasure, the engagements, the meaning. We're going to be talking about that we
Mhm.
all have,
Yeah.
and the way that we relate to each other, right?
Yeah.
And and searching for these elements that we the pleasure, engagement, and meaning. But then we are individuals, as you said, and we are part of a family.
Mhm.
And the family and all the families are parts of society, right?
Mhm.
So how, as you said, and I love the image of the symphony,
Yeah.
and it came to my mind a lot of things. There was a movie uh,
Mhm.
about, well, it will come to my mind during our talk, but I think it was something about Beethoven. Do you remember that?
I don't know. Tell me
Uh,
more. Tell us more.
I will. The Secret of Beethoven, can it be something like that? Well, I will have a quick look about, but it's came to my mind that image
Mm.
of the symphony. And if you have a dissonant,
Yeah.
anything that
Yeah.
it's not doesn't, it's not quite well.
Yeah.
Uh, for me, of course, I wouldn't recognize, or maybe some of us wouldn't. You have to be very well educated in terms of music to, if it is only one violin, for instance, that it's out of tune.
Yeah.
Maybe in among lots of violins, you won't hear, if you are not a maestro, or a musician. But as you said, there is a kind of a contamination, as Joanna says, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because for instance, I'm thinking about the, as you said, the symphony, and a lot of musicians together, lots of instruments, but the person next to that violin will hear, right?
Mhm.
And others, musicians, probably will get confused, or some, or not play so well, because the colleague by the other musician by his side or her side is not in tune.
Mhm.
um, okay, so what happens is that um, in the end the symphony is not going to be so good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so the way it could be. So
Mhm.
I think if we, yeah, oh yes, maybe the Secret of Beethoven. I think I'm trying. It's coming to my mind. I'm talking to you guys and thinking at the same time, what is it? Um, but what I think it's very important for us to think, why is Joanna asking us to think of this connection,
Yes.
interconnection, and the way that we think individually, and then in families, and then in society, right, as a whole, all the families and everybody together.
Mhm.
Because it's like in the symphony, if some of us are out of tune, it's impossible. I'm thinking about the collective unconscious, and
Yeah.
also spiritually and psychologically speaking, we are evolving together.
Yes.
So if why Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself, right? Love in terms of get to know, to understand, to be intimate, but not intimate in the sense I want to know everything that there is to know about that person. No, it's not that. Is to be, like you said, in this beautiful image, in tune with, right?
Mhm.
Compassionate,
Yeah.
uh, to be fraternal, compassionate, to really love, to be open to what can I do for my neighbor, what I would like someone to do, would do to me, so I can do to them also. So when we really understand that we are, okay, maybe tiny parts of a big thing
Mhm.
that we call the human family, and in our small planet, but like I think there is a small movie by Carl Sagan that he said the dot, and then you can
Yeah.
see the earth from far above, right?
Yeah.
But it like some sand, you know okay, we have a lot of sand at the beach, but a small, a tiny bit portion has a lot of it, and but without that tiny bit portion, there wouldn't be the seashore. We could not, and all the animals and all the everything that the life that it's there, right, and the nature, and that we can enjoy, but
Mhm.
okay, we don't know the complexity of that ecosystem, right?
Mhm.
But we
Mhm.
use this ecosystem. It's so important for us. Without the sand, without the ocean, we wouldn't even be here, right?
Mhm.
So to
Mhm.
have this love, and to understand that we are part of something bigger, and that yes, we if we are not in some sort of balance,
Mhm.
if we don't look for our individuation. Oh, and Marcia found is the pale blue dot. Yeah,
Mhm.
2009. Thank you, Marcia. By Carl Sagan. So if we don't understand that we have to search for our inner development
Yeah.
because of ourselves, because of to have love for ourselves, but also because of each person in the globe, because we are all interconnected in ways that we cannot even imagine. But the spiritist psychology and spiritist knowledge and other spiritualist knowledge that are around the globe,
Mhm.
they tell us that and especially as a Jungian analyst, in Jung's depth psychology, we understand through the collective unconscious and the archetypes that we share, everything, all the learning that we
Mhm.
have, like individuals, and through many incarnations
Mhm.
that we acquire, that we are able to have. So I think this is very important, and I think the image that you gave about a lot of musicians and instruments, and how we need each other so that the music and the symphony can be played and can be listened. And more than that, Marcia, we have to educate. For
Yeah.
instance, in this analogy, Okay, we have to educate our ears to identify and to, really enjoy the song.
Yeah,
But we also need to educate ourselves to play the instruments and to play in tune together with the others that are playing with us.
yeah,
So the disharmony of having, aggressions or aggressiveness and fear and all this anxiety, envy, all this kind of feelings towards a neighbor,
yeah,
towards someone that I don't even know,
yeah,
right? But because of some disconnection within myself, or because of the collective social prejudice, for instance, then I project onto others. I project something of my inner world. So then
yeah.
we are in this mess that everybody's enemy are everybody else,
Yeah,
and things like that. I don't know. What
yeah.
do you think about?
No, what comes to my mind, and I appreciate you referencing Jung and the collective unconscious. As a by the way, I was attending a conference. It was very interesting. I thought of you, and I actually was attending a conference on artificial intelligence just last week. It was the whole week. We had several segments on AI, and this quite young and remarkable person was talking about all the predictive capabilities, and this is like, wow, this is all future, right? But then she says it's really mimicking the collective unconscious, and I just thought it was so funny. We're talking about analysts and data scientists and artificial intelligence, and Jung and the idea of the collective conscious comes back to life. And it was fascinating because, in a way, if all data points are being, collected through artificial intelligence, maybe you kind of can tap into that collective, right? What are we thinking? What are we saying? What are we learning as a society? But anyways, back to what you were saying. I just wanted to pinpoint some of the topics, right? The first one is from a family to school to larger society. We understand that family is indeed our first social school, right? It is in the family that we learn about that harmony that we're talking about. So from the um, analogy of the symphony, if you think about our own households, and we all know, Anahy, there is always at least one black sheep, right? There's always one person that is dealing with difficulties such as I don't know, anger, anxiety, and all sorts of aspects that even withdrawals or neglect, all of it, which leads us to that dissonance within the family, right? But if you think in terms of psychology and perhaps the attachment theory, right? Those early interactions and those interactions with caregivers, and I say caregivers because it could be a mom, a dad, a nanny, grandmother, grandfather, right? An auntie, whatever. It doesn't have to be the mother and father, but those have the immense responsibility, if you will, to help each one of us shape our ability to form those secure bonds and to be able to learn to regulate our emotions and even empathizing, right? So it is important when we talk, and even Kardec in the Spirits book, he talks about the family as a miniature of the larger society, which means we need to start learning, Anaí, all of us, to be able to teach if you are a caregiver, or to learn as an immortal spirit that we are, all are, to learn about responsibility, also to learn collaboration, cooperation to the larger future of society. And of course, this is a big topic for Joanna. How, when you learn the love for serving, for cooperating, for collaborating, for adding, if you will, those are the seeds for altruism. And I love that. How can we become better, so much better, that we become altruistic? That's, according to Joanna, an end goal for all of us. And it's at our fingertips, if you will. It's in how we relate to the younger children, but also we relate ourselves, because we may not have had a so good childhood, but we can resignify the childhood, don't you think?
Yes, of course, I totally agree. There are
Yeah.
some tricks, though, that I think
Okay.
we should pay attention.
Okay.
I remember, and I have here Joanna saying that
Mm,
life, this is her words,
mhm.
life in society is necessary for the ethical and moral development of individuals responsible for the family group that is taking the first steps towards expanding its relationships with other human segments, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we need to educate ourselves, as you were
Yeah.
saying, and our
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
and young people for ethical and moral values, as
Yeah.
we were saying, right? Because this is the family group, like an instrument.
Yeah.
Let's think has to have balance, has to have, you know, spiritual and psychological development, help the children to develop morally, ethically, as Joanna is saying,
Yeah.
because then we can expand to other people in the society group, like
Yeah.
friends, families.
Yeah.
But Marsha, I wanted to
Yeah.
reflect with you
Yeah.
all about the persona and the way that we are living nowadays,
Yeah,
right?
unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, I can tell.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I can tell you're coming with some wake up call. Don't be Pollyanna and see things with that rose-colored eyes or lenses, right? It is. We're living in a society that betrays that call for us to be better and to be instrument for that ethical and moral development. But go ahead.
Yeah, because here Joanna also said, and she said
Mhm.
nowadays,
Yeah,
and when I was reading this sentence that in one of her books,
yeah,
then I said nowadays. Let me see when Divaldo and Joanna wrote this book. And then
mm,
it was like 20 years ago, but
yeah,
it's totally today.
yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah.
unfortunately, I don't know if I laugh or cry, as we
Yeah,
say, right?
or
But
both.
anyway,
Yeah,
or both, both.
yeah,
So Joanna says that a person, she's reflecting upon a person can live in a building, for instance, without making any contact with one's neighbor,
yeah,
ignoring the neighbors, right? And consequently taking him or her, the person, the neighbor,
yeah,
as a potential risk. And we
yeah,
can extrapolate that to
yeah,
society, to groups, to from different people from different countries, for instance. So unfortunately, it's so common these days,
yeah,
immigrants and things like that, unfortunately. So, thus, Joanna said, avoiding any kind of communication for fear of incurring problems and their undesirable consequences. Of course, as a
mhm,
as psychiatrist, I thought, okay, if I'm, for instance, I don't know my neighbors,
yeah,
right? And society is not helping. Oh, let's make a party in our street, and everybody can bring some cake, cookies, things like that, and
yeah,
let's make like
A
things
block
to
party. Yeah,
exchange.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yes, like
yeah,
party in the street, like in the
yeah,
past, so that
yeah,
everybody gets to know. Okay, we don't have, unfortunately, many, many cities around the globe in different countries. People don't do that anymore. You don't know your neighbors, of course. And then if I listen to the news or anything, oh, maybe I will have some, I get afraid that I will be, there was somebody will do something nasty against
yeah,
me.
yeah,
So then the aggressiveness that I have in myself, for instance, my shadow aspect, maybe whatever, the person has some kind of aggressiveness or a fear of something, of course, of being hurt, for instance,
mm,
traumas, things like that.
yeah, yeah,
But let's remember in this example, I don't know my neighbor. But
yeah,
if I have this inside of me, of course, what am I going to do? In
yeah,
psychological terms, I'm going to project
yeah,
all these things that I don't know that are inside myself, in my unconscious, onto the neighbor, whoever he or she is, right?
yeah,
We could call paranoid ideation,
yeah,
right? It's a
yeah.
symptom,
And
but
I
you don't
see,
have to. Yeah,
and I
go
see
ahead.
here in the U.S., right? It's where some larger neighborhoods of houses, right? And it's almost like creating this neighborhood vigilantism or community vigilantism, if you will, where residents are looking and neighborhood watch is what they call themselves, right? Where they have dates of the week, for example, that I am now the neighborhood watch person, and I'm going to look, and if there's an issue, I'm going to take on my own hands, right? And it's really most of it here, from what I understand, is a reaction to a perception of violence, crime, or threats, right? But it's terrible when you cannot be peaceful or relaxed in your own home. That's terrible.
Yes, so
Yeah,
that's what Joanna is asking us.
yeah,
So if Marcia, I know myself, it's not to be Pollyanna in the sense, oh, there is no aggression in the world. Everybody is very balanced. We have a lot of mental health. We are so developed emotionally and spiritually. Of course, we are not that. We will get there. I really believe that. We are evolving, as Joanna and beautiful light teachers and other mentors said. That's inexorable. We are going there. We are going
yeah,
there. We are
yeah,
evolving. But of course, we have our shadow aspects, right?
yes,
And
yes,
if I don't know that, if I
yeah,
don't connect with myself, if I stay only in the persona, the social
yeah,
mask,
yeah,
and I over identify myself with my persona, oh, I'm so
okay,
nice, I'm okay, I love everyone, or whatever, I'm not aggressive in any way. So, but the problem is not mine. The problem is the others. The
yeah,
problems are,
hmm,
this society that is crazy nowadays. The problem is whatever.
mm,
So it's outside of myself. Okay,
yeah,
then I don't have any control because it's
yeah,
outside of myself. Unfortunately, society is kind of promoting this these days.
yeah,
Or I only have control if I get together with a lot of angry people and go
yeah,
shouting and
yeah,
and thinking that I'm doing good to the world.
yeah,
Of course I have to, but why can I not, go with everybody else to pray for peace and love in the world, to, light candles, to sit
yeah,
and meditate together. So I'm quite sure that if we could do that, like Gandhi in
yeah,
India,
yeah,
right? So he liberated India from the British Empire at that time,
yeah,
peacefully. It
yeah,
was the policy of peace, right?
yeah,
without no aggression. It doesn't matter
Completely
what.
unexpected, right? Even,
Oh,
yeah. It's like, how
yeah.
could you do this? Yeah, yeah,
And that beautiful symphony, right?
yes,
and
yeah,
and so we have to face that,
yeah,
the inner, demons, shadows, aspects of ourselves,
yeah.
so that we stop projecting and
Hmm.
feeding the collective shadow,
Yeah,
right? Because we feed, if we don't really work, integrate our shadow aspects, we are going to project and we are going to connect with the
yeah,
collective shadow. But well,
yeah,
then we are in a vicious circle.
yes,
So I think that it's very important, as Joanna says. Well, there's somebody new in my
yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah,
Why am I going to watch and then say, wow, let's pay attention? Can be somebody that can harm us. Why
yeah,
don't I make a cake or this wonderful American cookies that you guys do
yeah,
in the United States? We
yeah,
cannot do here in Brazil because we don't have, I think, the same, the right ingredients.
yeah,
Well, we can we can exchange when we meet each other. So
yeah,
why don't I make some cookies? Why don't I make a piece, a cake, and I go and present myself? Oh, I just wanted to say that you are welcome. We say here that, kindness,
yeah,
right, produces kindness,
yes,
and
yes,
violence produces violence. We have some in some cars I see here, right?
yeah.
And there's a song from the 90s. I'm very retro today, thinking of, but I think it's a tenderness, and I think it
uh,
was a very cute high school movie. And this movie, this song is from this movie. In It was tenderness, the music, and yes, tenderness, to be tender with each other, right?
mm,
And of course, then if I come to you and you are new in my neighborhood, and I bring some cookies,
yeah,
or I bring, and even if I don't bring anything, as Joanna said, but I just present myself, say hi, my name is this. If you ever need something, you can contact me and things like that. It's very difficult, and I can tell you as a psychiatrist,
yeah.
that people are going to, you are going to be number one for the person to project onto you something bad. Right? You're not
It's
going
your
to be.
destiny. It's your destiny. You will be there. It will happen to you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to, maybe somebody that is listening to us want to take a look. There is an essay, and you can Google it,
Mhm,
that by Jung in 1928. But when he
mhm.
talks about the persona, and it's the relations between the ego and the unconscious, okay? And people can just Google it, and it's
Yeah.
very, okay. Then you are going to find, if you put Carl Gustav Jung and the relations between the ego and the unconscious. So Jung says that,
Mhm.
and here I'm putting his words, okay?
Sure.
While the ego handles our conscious experiences, we know that, um, well, Jung saying that, but here it said, while the ego handles our conscious experience, it only represents a small portion of our total psyche, a
Yeah.
very small portion. Beneath our conscious awareness lies a vast unconscious world containing our hidden fears, desires, dreams, and deeper aspects of our personality. So, I think that's very important, because if we understand that, coming to what you said about educating our children, the teenagers, educating ourselves within our families, having patience with one another, really listening to one another, really understanding if the child is full of fear for something, or not leaving the child by
Mhm.
herself or himself, in the internet. It seems very simple to say that, but it's so important that parents
Yeah.
understand that they have to know the children, get to know. It's a soul that's coming here for us to take care and to help this soul. All of us have some kind of mission here,
Mhm.
right? Spiritually speaking. And we have to connect with ourselves, be in peace with ourselves, to
Mhm.
discover, Jung would say, our personal myth,
Mhm.
the purpose of our souls here, what we decided that we wanted to do in this incarnation, to
Yeah.
learn, to experience, and to help our children to understand and to be okay with their talents, or the things that they don't know, but they are going to get to know with patience, because all of us face difficulties and challenges, right? And we have all the possibilities within ourselves. So I
Yeah.
think it's very important to understand. Then here, Jung talks about the persona in this essay, because he said, of course, we know already that it's the social mask, because the persona is the mask in ancient Greek, right,
Yeah.
in the theater of ancient Greece. And he says that, of course, is this mask that we wear, let's say, to present ourselves to the world, right?
Mhm.
And then, of course, this mask mediates the inner self of each one of us, and the society that Joanna is asking us to reflect upon.
Yeah.
So, of course, we make kind of a compromise, creating our persona between the individual that we
Mhm.
really are, and the social expectations.
Yeah.
I think this is very important for us to understand, because the things that we kind of create a character, like in a
Yeah.
movie, right?
Yeah.
And we are creating this character every day, right? Trying to adapt to society. But the problem is that if I over identify myself with this mask that contains things that I think it's okay, so there's a
Mhm.
value in the persona, it's part of my personality, but I'm not all of that, and I'm not especially only that. And many times I will have to be, it's much more important to be truth to what I'm feeling inside
Yeah.
than to
That
what society,
authenticity. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, wants me
Can
to be.
yeah. Can I maybe take this time to pivot
Please go.
to the idea of happiness, right?
Yeah.
Because it's intrinsic, that notion of persona to protect me, right? Anaí expects me to behave this way, so I'm going to wear this mask to meet society's expectation and Anaí's expectation. But am I being authentic? And do I know when I have to take it off, right? To really be in touch with who I am. But, anyways, Joanna says happiness is built on three pillars: pleasure, engagement, and meaning. And she says when one pillar is absent, joy becomes incomplete, or the sense of happiness doesn't occur. And I was reading a little bit about the positive psychology model by Seligman, where he says, right, pleasure as the first component is this short term joy, right? This burst of, oh, I'm happy right now. I'm feeling joy. But there we also find that engagement, on the other hand, really requires us to immerse ourselves in a fulfilling activity, right? And we go to the third aspect that Joanna brought that says meaning is the the one element that will allow us to transcend. So, from our perspective, and we have to always reference Viktor Frankl, right? When he says, "Those who have a why to live can bear anything, including anyhow." Right, of how things are. So maybe we can talk a little bit today on what happens if this is a three-legged stool. What happens when we fall short, right, to that sense of happiness, and I only focus, say, on pleasure, and I don't find or seek even engagement or meaning. What are your thoughts, Anahy?
Yes, because pleasure, we have it even in the brain, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is something that we all seek because we all want something that it's nice and that makes us feel better, or, makes us feel happy in the sense of fulfilling the pleasure.
Mhm.
Freud talks about the pleasure principle, for instance. We are all looking, of course, he talked a lot about connected to sexuality, right?
Mhm.
And the libido for Freud is the sexual drive,
Yeah,
and but of course, Joanna, it opens the pleasure is like a principle that
yeah,
helps us
yeah,
to go in the direction of something that makes me feel nice. But as you said, then she says engagement, and I
yeah,
would she writes about this in other of her texts. She talks about will,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So to have this will, this power, and the will and that moves the and the energy that moves us towards some goal. But
And
of course,
I always picture my mind's eye when she talks about that, the idea of flow, right? There is
yeah,
an energy that flows when you are engaged, right? To do something. You
yes,
have that
yes,
deep involvement in something. It's not superficial. Oh, I'm engaged with blah blah. No, you really, it's a lifelong, if you will, commitment to that aspect of our lives.
yeah. But then she brings differently from other
Hmm.
authors, as you cited. She brings meaning,
Yeah.
and as I and other colleagues, psychiatrists and psychologists, we research when we research spirituality
Hmm.
from the point of view of what science can, the research that are limited to these days because we have to all develop more our science. But when we what the research that are being done in these
Hmm.
days all connect spirituality with the search for meaning and purpose in life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when Joanna says, okay, the pleasure principle, the engagement, the will,
Yeah.
and then the meaning.
Yes.
And when is talking about the meaning, she's talking about spirituality,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
she says that the meaning is the value, in Joanna's words, the value attributed to existence.
Yeah.
Existence. The honorable objective assigned to the achievements represented by any work in favor of others. So then she's talking totally about what we have been saying, that when Jesus said, "Love thy neighbor as
Yeah.
yourself." So that's the spiritual aspect of when we find meaning in life. Is not the meaning, oh, okay, now I understand that I needed that job because the meaning of my life is to be, boss of somebody else. That's not meaning, people.
Yeah.
That's the ego and the persona, and some of complex within some of our
Yeah.
inner conflicts because I want to prove to my mom and my dad and somebody important to my in my life
Yeah.
that I have worth, and that I can achieve, be king of the world, whatever, this kind of silliness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a psychological conflict, of course,
Mhm.
of some inner conflict that the person has. And this is not meaning. When Joanna is talking about meaning,
Mhm.
right, she's talking about also uh, this. She says that in the individual, that this search for meaning provides the individual with a spiritual vision
Yeah.
of life and of
Yeah.
himself, a spiritualist vision.
Yeah.
And also, of course, then we start, oh, okay, so then here I'm doing good to others and I'm feeling good. So then I go deeper in the question of, okay, what is my soul telling me? That
Yeah.
I'm part of, a bigger family, that
Yeah.
everyone is important, and that the meaning is the soul, is in the soul, is not in the
Yeah.
ego. It's deeper in my soul,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
and unfortunately, and I thought that you're going to go further into this, but unfortunately, we live in a time where people, and those are words right from Joanna, where people share walls but not words, right? So if we talk about virtual networks, and some people may have 1 million, 2 million, 3 million followers, and you're very proud of your virtual network as a source of right to feeling part of the whole, but those replace or are replacing real emotional presence. And Joanna is telling us watch, right? Those are my words now, but watch, because there is a new isolation in within that very large virtual network that is actually leading to depression and a sense of detachment, right? So if we think about it, and I was maybe you can speak about it, um, Anahy, but right from, and I think you're talking when you talk about Freud and the libido, but in the brain. Research shows that the brain's reward system activates, right? But they activate through real human connection more than virtual likes. So it's really important that back to that example of being part of a community, and let's not be naive about it, but make an effort to welcome, but also to belong to a larger community. What are your thoughts, Anaí?
Oh, of course, totally. And I totally agree because, one of the problems, if you over identify yourself with the persona, and
Yeah,
that's one problem of the virtual world, because then I
yeah,
have to be that persona
yeah,
and I
all
have
the
to be that
time, right?
right
Yeah,
all the time. And then I over identify myself with that. It's a potential to imbalance, to psychological imbalance, and also to a potential to difficulties for spiritual growth that we
yeah,
are talking about today. Because what happens that the persona will make you rigid, right? Anything
yeah,
that threatens my persona will be seen as, will be seen with
yeah,
something that will make me apart from my community, but it's totally virtual because actually it depends only in what I'm showing to others, right? And not
mhm,
from, the day by day life and looking at each other's eyes, holding hands,
yeah,
because
yeah,
here we are talking and we know each other. We have been together
yeah,
recently in a congress, holding, hugging, and all that stuff. And so we know, for instance, okay, maybe the person virtually is talking and looks so relaxed and things like that. But if you were together with the person, right, and you would hold her hand or his
Yes.
hand, then you
Yeah.
would feel that the hand is cold and
Yes.
sweating, the
Yes.
person.
Yes.
And then, for instance, okay, you would understand that you have to, okay, I will help her because, or him, because I know he's anxious. And then
Yes.
let me change a little bit what I'm going to say. So
Yeah.
that's something that we lose when we have only the virtual way to communicate. It's
Correct.
great.
Yeah.
We can talk to people from all over different countries, all over the globe, and all the stuff. We can laugh together. We can connect because we are feeling the energy here, right, Marcia,
Yes.
and
I do.
everybody else that is
Yeah.
listening to us.
Yeah.
But because of the tone of the voice and all of that, but we cannot touch. So we
Yes.
need to have, moments that we are together with people that we can touch, we can hold each other, we can hug. Brazilians love to hug and kiss. Anyone that doesn't like, please pay attention when you come to Brazil. Oh, that's great that I'm here, but please don't hug me so much.
No,
Or
no respect to personal space, right? You just, it's all
yes,
there.
yes, it's all there. So you have to say, "Oh, I have a cold today. I'm not going to hug." It doesn't matter. This kind of lie is okay, but it's just joking. So, and just I wanted to remember before, because I know we are getting to the end of our,
Yes.
just remember that if we get apart from ourselves, from the truth that is within ourselves, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
part of our personality that it's in the unconscious, and that is part of
Yeah.
spiritual and psychological
Yeah.
growth,
Yeah.
to integrate these parts too. So what happens that process that Jung call individuation,
Yeah.
that there's nothing to do with individualism, but
Yeah.
individuation, to be the individual that we are supposed to be whole with everything that we are, the light and the shadow aspects that we are, to love ourselves exactly as we are, so that we can go on growing. And so the individuation process can be compromised, can we have potential to compromise the individuation process if we get stuck in the persona,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
then we are not doing the homework that our souls came here to do, that is to integrate, to accept everything that we are, so that we can work with ourselves. I just
Absolutely.
wanted to tell
Yeah.
Marcia that I think I found the movie. Let's
Yes.
go
Tell
into the
us.
beginning. And I think because in Portuguese it was translated as The Secret of Beethoven, but it's Coping Beethoven.
Mm.
And it's a beautiful movie that is from 2006. And it's Ed Harris, I love the actor, and Diane
Yeah.
Kruger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
They're both
someone, because it's the
amazing.
Ninth
Yeah.
Symphony. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, nice, nice. It's I can hear the ninth in my minds, right? Just amazing. I want to say something because we are at time, and Anna mentioned something before, right? In terms of intimacy, we're all seeking that sense and solidarity, right? The sense of belonging and to serving and even altruism. Solidarity doesn't mean full intimacy, according to Joanna. It just means availability, kindness, presence. So at this moment, I just want to say to everyone, if you know anyone in your circle of friends, of relationships, co-workers, etc., who is alone, who sounds like is this person's unheard, who needs a gesture of solidarity from you, be available, be kind, be there for that person. That's probably the biggest thing that you could ever done to anyone. But with that, Anahy, we have to close. We are at time, and I just wanted to thank everyone who's been here with us. Right, we talked about many different things today, including family relationships that are based on solidarity and understanding, right, and how we can practice this. So the invitation to do is for us to do this week is just offer a meaningful act of connection, right? Maybe it is somebody who is emotionally distant, or if you want to um, just touch base with somebody that it feels odd, that you're not in tune anymore, right? But we're all part of society, so we all matter, and we all need to contribute to the larger harmony. But anyways, if this was the first time that you're listening to a program, Psychology in Spirituality weekly talks are based on the works by Joanna de Ângelis. We referenced a lot of her texts today, and this is intentional because we really want to bring her amazing content with Spiritist psychology, where we juxtapose those concepts, spiritual concepts and psychological concepts as well. But I want to thank you, Anayi, and thank um, all the sponsors for our program, Mansão do Caminho, United States Spiritist Federation, the International Spiritist Council, and AMI Brazil, the Brazilian arm of the Medical Spiritist Association. And with that, I hope to see you next time. So long, everyone.
Bye bye.